Thank you for coming. We wanted to have you guys on. It's Veterans Day is tomorrow, and we wanted to see you guys. I'd be remiss by asking you guys. The Senate caved. The House Democrats did not.
No.
Is there any kind of, I don't know where you guys connect in the, whatever, representative's gym or any of that kind of thing? Like, when you walk by Schumer, is there ever any, pussy? Any of that?
There may be a little more this week.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, the House has not been in session at all since the shutdown.
It's been like seven weeks. Pathetic.
Have you guys spent your time in Washington or just back in your districts?
Back and forth, and we're on the Armed Services Committees. We've
Okay.
had some work to do down there, but we haven't had votes since the middle of September.
No votes.
No votes.
And obviously the conspiracy theory is, Mike Johnson doesn't want to swear in the representative who was from Arizona because that's the vote that makes it so that they have to then vote on releasing the Epstein files. Is that, that's... Or is that you don't have to answer this.
100%.
It's plausible.
More than plausible. They're waiting to run out the clock. There's another special election happening in Tennessee. And if that guy gets sworn in with Adelita Grijalva from Arizona, then it neutralizes the numbers. So they are running. Yes, agree with that.
Response.
You guys are like some sort of weird old-timey Greek chorus. They're like, it's like in a Peanuts cartoon where every now and then you cut to the audience and they're like, yay! Boo! Yeah, they're not doing anything. Let me ask you this. How surprised were you? How taken off guard were you by the developments of this weekend from the Senate? Did it take you off guard?
I wish I could say it did. And yet, I think this is what we've come to expect from this leadership and from what the Senate's been doing. They did not stand their ground. And it's a deal that I think it's a bad deal. I think it's weak.
It doesn't even seem like a deal. It seems like a nothing.
It's pathetic.
Is.
I literally have folks in my district getting letters in the mail. Their premiums are doubling, tripling, and they are folks understand actually what's happening. I've had many folks just last weekend home say, hold your ground.
Right.
Hold your ground. We know this is hard. We know it's complicated, but we literally cannot afford to pay triple. It's already way too high as it is. So.
And what gives them any confidence that the Republicans will all of a sudden go like, oh, okay, you reopened it, so now we're going to reach across the aisle in bipartisan agreement? They haven't done it once. They've run the table. 75 million Americans voted for the Democrats. They have zero representation in Senate, House, Judiciary, and Executive. You guys in the House, it's the closest that I can remember it being, and yet you're not allowed to bring up any votes. Don't have any committee chairmanships. It's unconscionable.
And there's not even an agreement to have a vote in the House. Or even if they had this agreement, there's going to be a vote in the Senate, and it somehow passed. There is nothing making Mike Johnson give us a vote on that to extend the tax credits.
None of it.
To me, that on its own tells you this is a weak deal for something we were fighting for our constituents and their health care.
And I think we both learned, me in the Superior Service of the Army.
The Navy guy.
Him in the Navy.
You have no idea what was going on backstage between these two. We got Army giving me swag on Army. We got Navy giving me swag on Army. I turned around, noogies, headlocks. It was terrible.
We both learned when in charge, take charge.
Right.
And I strongly disagree with everything that the Republicans are doing, but at least they understand when you have power, use it.
Right.
Now, they're using it for evil. They're using it truly for evil.
Right.
But we have to understand, I think we get this, a lot of our younger colleagues, frankly, get this. When in charge, take charge. Let's be clear what we're against, but also make clear what we're going to fight for when we're back. And when it's going to be when we're going to be back in charge.
I don't doubt that for a second. What astonishes me, I think the space was created for Donald Trump because of the disconnect between the sort of insulated world of Washington, the disconnect between the lawmakers and the needs of the people they purport to represent. I think that gap is what allowed his rise, that dissatisfaction. To see these folks in Senate leadership not understand that, honestly, I think might be the most shocking part of this equation. And does the leadership in the House understand that? Do you deal with the Senate at all?
Look, our states are both different, right? And so there's some of it.
You're Pennsylvania and New York. But both swing states, you guys are not in deep blue areas.
Our districts, no, we're in some of the most competitive, yeah.
Right.
So the majority in the House runs through whether we can hold and win in these districts, and we do. And by the way, we know how to win in tough districts. Yeah.
But the theory of their case, as far as I can tell, is people like you will lose if you stand your ground on principle. That you have to be the so-called moderate centrist that is going to reach across the aisle, not realizing they didn't reach across the aisle. They surrendered across the aisle.
Yeah. I don't know any constituents of ours that want us to just wilt. They want us to stand our ground for something that matters.
Right.
And our health care of our region and yours, like people's health care is a real thing that is bankrupting families. They're going to roll the dice on paying for a policy they may not be able to afford.
Right.
Or maybe showing up in the emergency room because they skipped out on health care.
Right.
That is something they want us to fight for. And we have been. And to see what happened on the other side in the Senate is just, it's weak.
And I think, like, there's this old theory of left, right, progressive, centrist, moderate. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
People want to know, are you going to actually fight for me when it matters, or are you going to cave? And that is the thing that matters, especially in this moment. But the folks that have been in the bubble of D.C. for longer than some of us have been around, they don't...
Longer than even I've been around.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, I could go down there and kick their asses physically.
Well, and
many of them are hollow like birds.
If you will allow me, I think...
Please.
And you have. And I actually, like, coming into Veterans Day tomorrow,
yeah.
I just want to, like, personally, your fight for the PACT Act, you came down and destroyed Ted Cruz, just shamed those Republicans. And I'm telling you, I had not, both of us had toxic exposures in our service.
Oh, really?
And I had not gone to the VA for over a decade. And when the PACT Act finally passed,
oh, wow.
It really meant a lot to me. It meant a lot to, 1 million veterans signed up after that bill.
That
and I'm
makes
telling
me
you,
so happy.
It would not have happened
It's a
without you.
fantastic program. And are they, and thank you both for signing up for that duty, because that's the thing. And veterans, I think, understand this in a way that maybe some of the legislators don't, because when you guys came home, the idea that you had to fight for benefits that you had earned, a lot of Americans are all of a sudden realizing, oh shit, the government is antagonistic, not just agnostic to my needs, antagonistic. And that's something that I think I found with the veteran communities, it was really dispiriting for them. And I don't know if you guys felt that way, but that the government's antagonistic.
Well, and look, it's not just, it's tough to get into the VA, and the PACT Act made that better. And I echo what Pat said. Thank you for your work to help make it happen. A lot of politicians who voted to send guys like us to places like Iraq, spending trillions, all of a sudden want to count pennies when it's time to care for the veterans they sent to fight.
Man.
And,
that's what's wild.
And it's a lot of the politicians we are battling with now in Washington, right? Are people who wrap themselves in the flag, and they're, the chicken hawks and the draft dodgers vote for a war and then won't vote to fund the health care for the guys they sent to fight. That's who we're up against.
Yeah.
It's wild. It must be frustrating. So, and this is interesting for you guys because you are in those swing districts. You guys are, the idea that somehow Democrats have to prove their love of country versus this sort of paper patriotism that I see on the right. It's performative oftentimes. And the idea that the onus is on you guys, do you feel that as well?
I mean, I think the people on the right who we run against and who fund elections against us would have that. I know both of us, we take no lecture from anyone who, number one, tried to overthrow the government on January 6th.
Right.
Okay?
Sure.
I mean, and
a little blick.
Which The vast majority of them did.
Right, right.
And we serve with people who I think are oath breakers, who are part of trying to overthrow the Constitution.
Right.
There's a guy in Pennsylvania, a member of Congress, who was central to that scheme, voted against certifying the results in Pennsylvania, a congressman named Scott Perry, who went on some radio interview and said that Democrats hate the military, said the guys and gals who served to then go into elected office did it for just a credential. He's an oath breaker. So we don't take a lecture from patriotism on guys like that. No way.
Let me ask you a question. When you're on the retreat for Pennsylvania House of Representative lawmakers and you guys are in the tents at night, how personal does this get? Is it hard? When you have somebody that's saying something like that along you and your feelings about that are clear, how personal have these divisions gotten?
I think probably in olden days, you'd have a scotch and work it out. Well, I decided I'm going to the guy's district, holding a press conference, and telling him I'm coming for a seat.
So that's the way to run it. Now let's get to some of the priorities. I'm fascinated now that, so much of the talk about these programs, whether it be SNAP program or these things that, for the most part, are people that work jobs or are elderly or are disabled or are children.
And veterans.
And veterans. The vast majority are that. There's a very small percentage, some say 5%, 6%, of able-bodied Americans who are getting these things, but we don't know what their situation is. They could be felons who have trouble getting work. Whatever it is, that seems to be for them the core of this is the tragedy of this country, is these moochers. And this is the waste, fraud, and abuse in America. And this is what we have to stop. Yet they hand $1 trillion to a Defense Department that's never passed an audit. And the rank and file, that you guys know this, suffer from oftentimes food insecurity themselves that are serving in the military. How the does that compute? It doesn't.
For veterans, we have tens of thousands of active duty service members and millions of veterans on SNAP, food stamps, right now in the United States of America, number one. Number two, as we speak, the President of the United States is actively suing in the Supreme Court to block food going to those veterans and 42 million Americans, 1 in 8 people. And they're the patriots? They're the ones that stand up for liberty and justice for all? It is bullshit. It's complete bullshit.
The whole thing is so mind-boggling. What is the pressure, in terms of that military budget, where's the pressure come? Is it defense contractors? Who is it that lays the hammer on everybody to get these things through?
Well, look, there's very little competition. There used to be 51 prime defense contractors back in the 90s. There are 5 now.
5?
5. Okay, and we could spend the whole night talking about different ways we get gouged. Let's take the C-17, okay, transport aircraft.
Sure.
Soap dispensers. The report that we saw, 7,900% markup on soap dispensers. Okay, so imagine what happens with everything else.
I have flown on a C-17. My hands were never cleaner.
But you multiply, think about the cost that we are all paying for that.
Here's the crazy thing about a C-17, and you guys know, it's this giant cargo plane, and you fly in it, and there's no, they didn't put up paneling, sound.
No.
We went on a USO tour in a C-17, and they were like, bring a winter coat and shorts. They said the weather changes in a C-17 depending on the altitude you're at.
I never even knew you could actually use the bathroom in a C-17. I never have.
What were you doing?
I held it. No, but you hit on something else, though, John, which is that it is a corrupt system.
Yes.
These 5 companies have tremendous power of their purse. After Citizens United in particular, they pour money in, and both of us have refused to take corporate PAC money for this exact reason.
And it puts you in a disadvantage.
Well, it doesn't, though. Honestly, it doesn't, because 1, we can both sleep at night and know we're doing the right thing, but 2, our constituents actually understand how corrupt the system is. And they want leaders that are going to actually stand up to that. So I actually remember in the Armed Services Committee 2 years ago, the F-35 jet program is probably the biggest boondoggle of my lifetime.
1.7 trillion, something like that.
It's insane. And their operational readiness rate is 30%. And so a bunch of us younger members, and it was bipartisan, all veterans who had served, were saying, this is crazy. We have to get leverage on Lockheed Martin, who's the company. The amount of swarm of lobbyists that descended on us as we tried to ram through this amendment, and we didn't succeed in getting it through because we just got overwhelmed. Now, we've continued the fight, but that's just one example.
Now, what was the amendment attempting to do?
So it's specifically saying, and this is the crazy part, we pay them trillions of dollars, and Lockheed Martin keeps the intellectual property for the stuff that our tax dollars pay for. So all the amendment did was say, we're paying you an ungodly amount of money. We Americans should own the intellectual property that we're paying you for. And that was not able to be passed through.
I mean,
It's like the worst episode of Shark Tank ever. What do I get for the trillion? I'm asking for $1 trillion for my company, and you don't get anything.
Yeah. Yes.
You get planes that don't actually work, and you don't own them.
And this problem it plays out on a bunch of systems, and you name it, where the troops can't even fix their own stuff because of these contracts, where it's got to be repaired by the company or their subcontractor. It costs the public a lot of money. It hurts readiness for the troops because they can't fix stuff that they would know how to do because of these contracts.
So this Veterans Day coming up, instead of anything performative, what do you want to say to the American people? What do you ask of the American people for those that have been brave enough to sign up, to take that oath, to do that, those who are doing it actively, and those who have done it in the past? What would you say?
Look, stand solid for a strong and funded VA that is there to take care of veterans for care that we have all earned, for those benefits that we've earned. Let's make sure the VA is strong and there for veterans all over the country.
Right. And
Agree with that. And I have to say, Trump ran on supporting and helping veterans and on ending the forever wars, right? He has done the 180-degree opposite. He has fired 80,000 people at the VA. In my own VA, 20 beds closed that deal with mental health crisis and addiction recovery, closed, that we've been fighting for to get reopened. And that happened, I know, in Pittsburgh. It happened around the country. And then I think the most serious thing I would say to the country is don't send our most precious resource, our young men and women, into harm's way on some chicken hawk BS from a 5-time draft dodger who does not understand what selfless service means whatsoever, and hold them accountable for that.
let me feel better myself. Gentlemen,
Thank you.
Representative Pat Ryan, Representative Chris Deluzio.